There's an island so remote it takes a week on a cargo ship just to reach it. Only about 35 people live there, and every single one of them shares the exact same last name. Not by chance, by blood, because everyone on this island descends from one man and his 3 wives. He stepped off a whaling ship in 1863. He built an entire world out of driftwood, and he wrote rules that still control every life here today. But the same thing that created this island is now quietly killing it. This is Palmerston, and its story is stranger than almost anything you've ever heard. To understand how 35 people ended up sharing one name in the middle of the Pacific, you have to go back to the man who started it all. His name was William Marsters, an English ship's carpenter, a barrel maker, a restless man, most likely from Gloucester. He first spotted Palmerston from the deck of a whaling ship, a tiny smear of green in an endless blue ocean, and he never forgot it. 3 years later, in 1863, he came back, this time to stay. He didn't come alone. He brought 3 Polynesian wives, 3 women who were, remarkably, cousins to one another. The island was empty, no houses, no roads, nothing but coconut palms and coral and wind. So Marsters built, all of it, from nothing. He used timber from shipwrecks and driftwood that washed up on the sand. He raised homes, a church, a school, and then he did the one thing that would shape this island for the next 150 years. He split Palmerston into 3, 1 share for each wife, 1 share for each family line. He fathered around 23 children. By the 1970s, more than 1,000 people could trace their blood straight back to him. 1 man, 1 island, 1 name for all of them, Marsters. Think about that for a moment. An entire community, born from a single household. But building the island was the easy part. Surviving on it was harder. And just getting there? That's a story all on its own. Forget booking a flight. There isn't one. No airport, no runway. No airline has ever touched down here. If you want to reach Palmerston, you have exactly one real option: a cargo boat. It leaves from Rarotonga, the capital of the Cook Islands, hundreds of miles of open ocean away, and the crossing takes days, sometimes a full week at sea. Now here's the catch. That boat only sails once or twice a month, if you're lucky. Sometimes it's delayed for weeks. Sometimes it simply doesn't come at all. A few private yachts drift through every year, only a handful. You could count them on your fingers. And even when you arrive, reaching land is dangerous. The reef around the island is narrow and razor sharp. You cannot just sail in. The islanders have to row out to meet you in small boats and guide you through the one safe gap in the coral. But they're not only being kind, they're racing each other. Because on Palmerston, the first family to reach you is the only family allowed to host you, and the only family allowed to trade with you. It's a competition, and it's older than anyone alive today. To the people here, a visitor isn't a stranger. A visitor is an event, something they'll talk about for months. So the moment you step onto the sand, you realize something strange. Getting here was hard, but leaving might be even harder, because the next boat out could be months away. So what is life actually like when you're stranded on a single square mile of coral with 35 people who are all related to you? Start with the basics. There are no shops, no restaurants, no gas stations, no hotels. For the entire island, there are just 2 toilets. There's no river, no spring, no fresh water anywhere on the ground. So they catch the sky instead. Every roof feeds a cistern. Every single drop of rain matters. For food, they turn to the lagoon. They fish almost every day. Parrotfish, shellfish, whatever the sea decides to give them. When the cargo ship finally comes, they sell frozen fish back to Rarotonga. That is how they earn money. Because even in a place like this, you still need cash. For fuel, for flour, for the things the island cannot grow. There are really only 2 ways to make a living here: catch fish or work for the government. And those government jobs changed everything. Today, around 14 people work for the island administration. Every morning begins the same way. Prayers. Then they scatter to their work, running generators, tending gardens, keeping the whole island breathing. There's one school, one church, and very little else. The children begin each day with a hand on the Bible, reciting a promise to God, to their country, and to their tiny island school. The church sits at the center of everything. On Sundays, a bell rings out, and the entire island stops. No work, no play, no noise. The paths are swept spotless and lined with coconut logs. At night, small lamps glow along them, and the whole place looks like something from a dream. And every afternoon, at 4 o'clock, half the island comes out to play volleyball. The kids invent their own games. People float in the warm, clear lagoon. Nobody spends money here. There's nothing to buy anyway, and there's no such thing as a secret. On an island this small, everyone knows everyone, every face, every name, every story. There are no cars, but almost every family owns a big aluminum boat for fishing and for crossing the lagoon. It sounds like paradise, simple, peaceful, untouched. But there's one terrifying catch. If someone falls seriously ill, the nearest hospital is hundreds of miles away across open sea. And that simple, peaceful life is hiding a much deeper problem, one that could erase Palmerston forever. And it comes straight back to that one shared name. Before we reach the darkest part of this story, if you're drawn to these forgotten corners of the world and the people who refuse to leave them, that is exactly what this channel exists for. Stay with me. This next part is the reason everyone eventually leaves. Remember, 35 people, all descended from one man. It wasn't always this small. By the 1970s, more than 1,000 of William's descendants were alive, but most of them left, for Rarotonga, for New Zealand, and they never came home. Why would anyone abandon paradise? Because of a problem no one on the island likes to say out loud. When everyone shares the same blood, love becomes dangerous. William saw it coming, so he made a rule. You may never marry inside your own family branch. You must marry into a different one. It was clever, but there's a limit to how far a clever rule can stretch when only 35 people remain. A former mayor of the island once admitted something chilling. He discovered far too late that his father and his wife's father had been brothers. By the time they realized, they already had children together. And his story is not the only one like it. This is the real reason the young people go. They want choices. They want families of their own. They want to escape a risk that's hiding inside their own bloodline. They want healthy children. They want a future that isn't decided by a family tree with too few branches. And leaving is easy. As Cook Islanders, they receive New Zealand citizenship automatically. So they go. For school, for work, and most of all, for the chance to meet someone, anyone they are not related to. Some come home again one day. Many never do. The elders watch, and they worry, because every year the island empties out a little more. They didn't just give up, though. They fought back, and for a short while it actually worked. But the very thing keeping Palmerston alive is also the thing that traps it. And to understand that, you have to understand the rules of the man who built it. William Marsters died in 1899, but in a way, he never left, because the laws he wrote still run this island today. Rule 1. Only his descendants may own the land. No outsiders, not ever. Rule 2. The island stays divided in 3. One share for each wife's line. Those borders still exist. Rule 3. You marry outside your branch, never inside it. Rule 4. Nothing is decided alone. A council governs everything, 6 members, 2 from each family. And here is something almost nobody knows. Palmerston is the only island in the entire Cook Islands where English is the first language. William spoke with a thick English accent, and more than a century and a half later, his descendants still do. In the middle of Polynesia, children speak with the faint echo of a man from Gloucester, England. They even keep his old holidays alive, celebrating British traditions on a speck of coral thousands of miles from Britain. But William was wise. He let Polynesian culture live too, inside the home, in language and in custom. So Palmerston became something that exists nowhere else. British on the surface, Polynesian at heart. Other customs are stranger still. On set days each year, the islanders still hunt a seabird, the bosun bird, a tradition William began carefully so his family could eat without wiping the birds out entirely. And the record keeping. For over 100 years they have written everything down, every council meeting, every dispute, every decision, preserved by hand. William's original house, built from shipwrecked timber, its foundations buried deep to survive the cyclones, still stands, more than 160 years later. These traditions have survived isolation, cyclones, a shrinking population, but now they face a threat that no rule, no council, and no tradition can stop, and it is already here. Here's the fact that changes everything about Palmerston. It's a coral atoll, flat, barely lifted above the ocean at all. The highest point on the entire island is about 2 meters, roughly 6 feet. The islanders actually call it the mountain. Now think about what's happening to our seas. Across the Pacific, the water is rising, and in this corner of the world, it's rising faster than almost anywhere on Earth, close to twice the global average. For a place 6 feet tall, that isn't a statistic. It's a countdown. More flooding, more storm surge, salt water seeping into the soil, poisoning the crops that feed them, and the storms themselves are growing stronger. Palmerston has been struck by savage hurricanes over and over across the last century. Somehow, it survived every one. But the ocean it always trusted is slowly turning against it. Each storm now arrives on higher water than the one before, and this time, the island has nowhere left to run. There is one obvious way out: build an airport. Imagine it: fast medical rescue, easy travel, steady supplies, tourists, real money, but the price is brutal. To carve out a runway, they'd have to tear apart one of the little islands, scar the lagoon, invite pollution, and end the quiet way of life that survived for 6 generations. Some residents want it desperately. Others refuse to even consider it. One elder said it plainly: build that runway, and within a year, the lagoon we're sitting beside would already be gone. It's an impossible choice: survival or identity, connection to the world or the soul of the island, and no one knows the right answer. They have made real progress. Solar power arrived, and with it, electricity around the clock. Satellite internet linked them to the planet for the very first time. But still, the numbers keep slipping. 28 people, 35 on a good day. It shifts, depending on who has sailed away. They even did something remarkable. They reached out to the entire world and asked for new families to come and live with them. They have more land than they can farm. They need fresh blood to survive. So far, almost no one has come. The island that began with one man may not live to see another century. And that leaves us with one final question: will Palmerston make it? Some say yes. Another 150 years, easily. Others aren't so sure. Think about what this place truly is. One man stepped off a whaling ship and built an entire world out of driftwood. 6 generations kept it alive. They kept the faith. They kept the rules. They kept the name. They protected a way of life that exists nowhere else on this planet. But traditions cannot hold back the tide. A community cannot outvote a hurricane. And the isolation that once kept Palmerston safe is now the very thing that leaves it exposed. So they do the only thing they can. They fish. They sweep the paths. They ring the church bell every Sunday. They keep living. Because for now, Palmerston is still here. Still remote. Still unlike anywhere else on Earth. Still home to a handful of people who all carry the same name. And as long as they remain, the story that began with one man and his 3 wives goes on a tiny island, at the very edge of the world, where everyone is family, and the ocean climbs higher, inch by inch, year by year. The question was never whether Palmerston is extraordinary. The question is how much longer it will be here at all.